Last year, 20th Century Fox took a gamble and released the first R-rated Marvel movie in nearly 20 years, and it was awesome. 1 year later, we get Logan. So let's talk about how good or how bad it was. First up, we got our friendly neighborhood Samoan Nick Udom.
Thanks for having me back. I've been in a bunker for 2 weeks now.
Daylight is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
God, it is. I miss it so much.
Up next, your old geriatric fuck Joel Hastings.
I'm old, I'm male, I think, and I'm an old fuck.
The doctor,
And
Phil
grumpy.
Seitz.
Doctors?
And his cousin, Tyler.
What's up, everybody?
So, guys, we just saw Logan. Joel, you haven't seen Logan, right?
I have not. I had to
you,
work.
Well, you read the comic book. You know a little bit about the story, and we'll tell you some of the details. You can earmuff it if you don't want to hear spoilers. But,
Oh, no,
as
no.
always,
Spoilers never bother me.
well, this is world-class bullshitter, so spoilers abound. So, guys, I'm going to ask you the biggest question first. Did you like this movie more than Deadpool?
Ooh. I want to say yes.
Okay, we got a yes from Nick. Phil,
I want to
Tyler?
say yes.
Ooh, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous
For
comparison.
more than Deadpool, that's close. It's very close. I'd have to say no.
Yeah, no.
All right,
I'll
I'm going to go with it.
So decisive.
It was a very good film, but it was not the same game changer that Deadpool was. Because Wolverine was rated R because it was violent and said fuck a bunch. Deadpool was just a completely different type of movie, but in the X universe. So, Deadpool aside, let's talk about this film. So, Wolverine takes place in the year 2029, correct, guys?
Correct.
All right. Now, see, from the trailers, this movie looks like it's going to take place in a dystopian future. In reality, the trailer just shows a few scenes where he lives in Mexico. But it's the year 2029 in America. Everyone still has the same model cell phones, and the cars are almost the same, but whatever.
Well, I mean, Mexico is a dystopian future. Let's be honest.
They don't have a future, let's be honest, okay?
They had self-driving semis. That was the most futuristic thing in the movie.
Well, we actually have those nowadays.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
Anything in Mexico. Anyway, Mexico
They
is just a
get
hole.
donkeys.
You know what, though? The movie didn't predict the Trump wall that's going up, apparently, so I guess the movie failed on all of its futuristic predictions.
Or it was finished production before he got elected.
So, no, but the movie takes place in 2029. We see Wolverine, who is an old man. God, he's like almost 200 at this point, right?
211, I think, is what it is.
Okay, because I know he fought in the Civil
I don't know
War.
what
No, that would make sense, though, Nick, because he fights in the Civil War in the first
Yep.
Wolverine movie.
I don't know. I'm throwing out numbers. If anybody really knows, please, put in the comments or something. I don't know.
And please stop bitching about the Suicide Squad video, okay?
Oh, yeah, please do.
I get it. You like that it got an Oscar.
But that don't mean shit.
Yeah,
Fuck Suicide Squad.
it won for hair and makeup. Anyway, though, back to Wolverine. That's what these people are clicking on tonight. Well, this is world-class bullshit. We don't do anything by the book. But anyway, 2029, Wolverine is an Uber driver in the future. And he gets tasked with taking a young girl to, was it North Dakota?
Yes.
And
North Dakota.
madness ensues. And on his magical road trip, he takes Professor Xavier, who's still alive, this young girl who's mute for most of the film, and they pretty much drive through the countryside. All this thing needed was a rockin' soundtrack, and it's like the superhero version of Dumb and Dumber.
Not a more violent version of the Blues Brothers.
Oh god,
Ooh,
Blues Brothers was so awesome, and it had Nazis, and it had. I
And
think
then
my
Carrie
favorite.
Fisher. And then Carrie Fisher
And
as well.
Carrie Fisher. Joe, I think my favorite part is when the Nazis are falling from the sky, and he's like, "I've always loved you," and then they die. That's the one part of that movie that always makes me laugh.
Not a good movie without Nazis.
That's true. That's why Indiana Jones is so successful. But the fourth one's
Apparently, you
garbage.
never saw Dead Snow.
That's God damn it,
Oh,
Joel.
I love Dead Snow. Oh,
It's
my God.
horrible.
Don't get me started.
Joel, that's one of the movies I feel like you owe me 2 hours of life back for.
I would give it to you because I hated that movie that bad.
The only part that was cool is when the guy got his head ripped open by the zombie. Okay, so I pretty much gave you guys the basic outline of the movie. If you think Logan sounds interesting. Go check it out. Now it's time for the spoilers. So the movie starts out with Wolverine getting his shit pushed in by a bunch of cholos. And then he fucks them up so bad. And you know from that moment on what kind of movie you're going to get. He cuts the dude's arm off, cuts the dude's leg off, stabs the dude through the head, slices the guy's gun. People got stabbed in the dick. It was fucking brutal. Like, if you think Deadpool was violent last year, Logan is like realistic violence, like, and it's gory, and there's no jokes, there's no music really to underscore it. It's just fucking brutal violence. And if that's your thing, you're going to have a hard dick this whole movie.
Let me get this straight. You said he stabbed people in the dick.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he had a dick kebab.
Well, here's how it... Well, at no point in this movie did any body parts stick to his claws. Everything was slice and dice. Most people got stabbed in the neck.
I just have one question. How did he fucking get the adamantium claws back when they were cut off in the end of the last one?
No. Remember, in X-Men Apocalypse, he's in the Weapon X program and he escapes from Alkali Lake.
Hello?
Yeah, I was just wondering because in the end of the one that was not that long ago, he had his
The
claws-
Wolverine?
Yeah, they were chopped off by the fucking Silver Samurai's blade.
Well, the Wolverine in that movie, he doesn't have his adamantium claws. But then in Days of Future Past, future Wolverine has adamantium claws in the future, but then he goes back to the 70s and he has bones again, right?
Yeah, the bones will regrow.
Look, and it's all convoluted and messy.
Yeah,
It's Bryan Singer.
well, this was that's true. It was him, but these aren't.
These are directed by James Mangold, who also wrote the film, and I thought he did a very good job. By the way, listeners, if you think I'm going to be shitting on this movie for this review, I'm not. I actually liked Wolverine or Logan quite a bit. So
Same here, man.
Don't go clicking thumbs down and, oh my god, he hates the movie, worst troll ever, blah, blah, blah. No, man, we're just talking about the movie. I'll give you my rating score at the very end of this review. So, Wolverine truly is an Uber driver. That's not a joke, Joel. Like, he actually drives a limo. He drives a limo and he picks up people. There are tits in this movie. It was one of my favorite parts. He picks up a bachelorette party and takes them to like a bar, and the bachelorette has got a great, well, not a great rack. We're talking like a 7 out of 10 rack. But she just pulls him out and tits, and I was very happy at that scene. So, after the tits came out, you see his relationship with Professor X, and it was kind of sad. People talk about the movie being sad. Like, that was the one sad part to me, to see Professor X in that state of mind, because we're used to, regal Professor X rolling out in his chair, using his mind powers. Now he can't even go to the toilet by himself and all this other shit. So it's kind of
it's very dystopian. But I like that because I liked that they went darker. They went with an R with this one. It was like, shit's hit the wall, man. We're fucked. It was that whole thing, and them trying to survive and trying to get through, and that's what I really liked about it.
What I liked, too, is that while it was kind of a dystopian future for mutants, because, Joel, all the mutants have been wiped out. They figured out how to cure the mutant gene, so they don't exist anymore. Like, there are very few. It didn't take the fucking Scarlet Witch to say no more mutants to wipe them out. It just took science. I liked that it was like the real world, though. Like, other parts of America were normal. It wasn't like the whole world was falling apart like in Old Man Logan, the comic.
Yeah.
It was just normal America. The highways, the border patrol, everything was the same. You would go to gas stations and hotels, and all these things operate like in the real world today. It's just that his world was shit.
Yeah.
He lives on a farm in Mexico with what was his name? Caliban. He was a mutant. He was like an albino guy.
Yeah, Caliban.
Yeah.
And Professor X. And Professor X lives out in the water tower, and Logan gives him these drugs because Professor X has these seizures, and when he has a seizure, it like fucks everybody up and almost kills them. Like they're rendered unconscious almost, and like they can't handle it. So Professor X has to say what, Phil?
We'll call it a mind fuck.
Yeah, so he it's a mind fuck. He really like can hurt these people.
Yeah, he really
So it's
mind
like-
fucks everybody around him for a long time.
So it's like Golden Girls, but for mutant men.
True. But you learned that he killed like 600 people or so, or was it 70 people, and they injured 600 people in New York when he had his first seizure or something like that.
Yeah, it was insane. And he has to constantly be injected with medication, constantly take pills to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I guess he's suffering from Alzheimer's or something, and this is the result of it.
Yeah, with his mutant powers and the Alzheimer's, it was it's brutal, man. It comes up again later in the story. I got to give them credit. All the shit they planned in the beginning pays off in the end, and it was a perfectly structured superhero movie.
No, it was. I mean, I was really happy that there was very little bullshit, very little filler. All the story, everything they showed you was conducive to the actual story. Like everything you needed to know was what you needed to know, no more, no less.
Why do I feel like Logan is out front of the house smoking a cigar, and he gets a little tap in the head? Logan, I need my diaper changed.
Joel, nothing that cool happens in this movie.
No.
Wolverine. Here the thing is, Joel. Wolverine's dying the whole movie.
Do we know why he's dying?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, they never say it. I don't think they said it once in the movie. He's got some weird disease. He knows what's wrong with him, but he won't tell the audience or the people in the that he's interacting with.
So
but
it's the end of the franchise movie.
What?
The adamantium is poisoning him. That's what's wrong with him.
Oh, they did say that. You're right.
Okay.
Why is this metal that his body heals him from?
Well, I guess years and years of adamantium poisoning. But Joel, you'll like this one part. He goes from being real cut and buff, like how he normally looks.
Yeah.
And throughout the movie, he starts to get like chubby and flabby, and he has like man boobs at the end, and it just shows that his muscles have been breaking down, and he looks like shit at the end. Like absolute. He looks like Deadpool from Wolverine Origins, like just that bad.
Wow.
Did a great job with the visuals.
Yeah, the effects were so good. You never really noticed what an effect was.
Yeah, that's true. They did an amazing job with that. There was never like blatantly CG or blatantly this, that, or the other. It was all blended together really well.
The only one that was bad was when they shot the second Logan's eye off, and then the guy tried to regrow it there. That looked bad. But other than that, everything else looked great.
Oh, tell me somehow, some way they show Wolverine just getting fed up back in the past with Scott Summers and cuts his head off.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
They don't show anything of the past. They don't tell you what happened to the other X-Men or how they died.
No, there's
there's
no flashbacks. I mean, they do talk about the past every now and again, but it's rare.
Because how it works, Joel, is X-23 has X-Men comic books. Like, in their world, they took the X-Men shit that the characters did and turned it into fictional comic books. So they have, like, similar costumes to the actual comic books and shit like that. And this girl's obsessed with them. And that's kind of the only vision of the past you see with the X-Men.
So is this going to be the last movie, or are they still planning more crap with
the
universe?
Well, the movie takes place 30 years in the future, and it has to be the last one, because we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, he meets with this woman who's going to offer to pay him, was it $50,000?
Yeah, in total 50,000.
To take her and the little girl to North Dakota. And at first, he doesn't want to do it. And then he decides he will do it, because he's trying to buy a boat for him and Xavier so they can go out and just, live their days
drop
out
the
on
old fuck in the ocean.
What?
So he can drop the old fuck into the ocean?
That's how
give him some cement shoes or something? Is that what you're talking about?
No, just some place that the body will, get eaten by sharks.
Jeez.
Wow, man, you really made a
don't you think he would like mentally communicate with the sharks and become Aquaman like immediately?
No, because that's a unique mental ability only to Aquaman. Even Submariner couldn't, command sharks. He'd have to. Can you please not bite me? No.
Well, Professor X controlled horses with his mind.
Yeah, he did.
That's true.
Yeah, well, it's a more developed mind. You got a primal fucking killer monster that is a shark. It's not going to be able to control that.
Well, you know what, Joel? In the sequel to Logan 2 Electric Boogaloo, we'll discuss the intricacies of Professor X's mind and how he would control a shark. That's why they left it open-ended just for you. In that,
no, the next movie's going to be called The All-New Wolverine, and it'll be her.
I won't see that movie because I don't want to watch. That was the one criticism I had of this film. I don't believe that she was the way she was. That is the one thing that took me out of the movie.
Did it even give her background origin being grown as a clone?
Completely, it showed everything.
Yeah, it did
and
that.
The reason it said that why she is called X-23 is because the other 22 male clones didn't survive?
Well, because there are other... They show there are kids that are in the program with her, and there's men and women, well, boys and girls.
See, they changed it.
Yeah, the one girl has this badass power. She can breathe like ice, and she freezes this dude's arm and shatters into like a million pieces.
Oh, they really changed it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so anyway, back to the story.
They all had names, by the way. They didn't call them X anything.
Yeah, that you only saw their numbers when they showed the file paperwork.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wolverine, Professor X, and was it Lisa or Laura, or what do they called her? Okay, they go on a fucking road trip across the country because the military is chasing after him. That guy was a dick, by the way. I'm so glad he got killed.
Oh, dude, yeah, total dick.
With his metallic arm.
So anyway, well, he looked like a douchebag. As soon as you saw him, you're like, oh, douchebag.
It was Nazi haircut.
Yeah.
So anyway, when they were escaping from Wolverine's farm, the car got damaged, and so Wolverine pulls into a city in, was it Oklahoma or Utah or something, at a hotel, and they decide they're going to stay at this hotel, eat, sleep, get some food, and get a new car. So the next day when Wolverine goes out to get a new car, the military finds them. And Professor X has one of his seizures. And so you get to see Wolverine kill all these soldiers in slow motion as Professor X is having this seizure. And then X-23 gives him the injection or whatever, and they're able to escape. So they're driving away on the highway, and all of a sudden, one of these self-driving trucks almost wrecks into him. And he spins out, but it causes another truck to dodge, and it's a truck full of horses, like a truck with a trailer full of horses. And Professor X tells Logan to go help them. So he does, and this family decides to invite him back to their house for dinner. And
we got tacos.
What?
We got tacos.
No, it was a black family. And it was
red beans and rice.
They had meatloaf. They had meatloaf.
They did.
No, but Joel, it was Eric LaSalle, the guy from Coming to America, the Soul Glow guy.
Oh shit! It was.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it was.
Because when I was sitting next to Loudy in the theater, I said, "Loudy, that's the guy from Coming to America." He goes, "Who?"
No.
I said, "The Soul Glow guy, the one that it's the boyfriend." So him and his family bring in Logan, Professor X, and X-23. They all have dinner, and they're like really getting along. And it's like a really nice moment. And the guy's water goes out, and he's like, I have to go to this pump and reset it. So Wolverine and him go out to this pump to reset the water, and these guys that own the land come in and try to stop him. And Wolverine grabs their gun, breaks the dude's nose, and breaks the gun, and they go back to the house. So when they get back to the house, the military has found them. And they don't just go in with all these soldiers, they send a clone of Wolverine in. So what happens, Joel, is they're in bed, or Professor X is in bed talking to Logan. He's like, "This is the best day, blah blah blah. I don't think I deserve it." And Wolverine comes into the light, and he's like, "Logan," and boom, he gets stabbed in the chest by this clone of Logan. And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then you see his face. He's got fully dark hair and a short Buzz haircut. So it looks like young Wolverine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when it first happened, I was kind of fucking terrified of that. I was like, "Oh shit, what is it? What's going on?"
I thought it was a dream sequence at first.
Yeah, same here. I was like, "Oh shit."
Was it not cool though?
Oh, it was amazing. It was so good.
And then the little girl jumps on his back and just starts stabbing him in the head.
Yeah, and I gotta give this movie props. They did not hesitate to show the kids get killed or beat up. Normally movies, no matter the rating, if a kid gets killed or something, they kind of do it off camera. Eric LaSalle's son got stabbed in the gut by the clone Wolverine, and it showed him die. He was the first one to die. Then the wife got her throat slit, and then Eric LaSalle got stabbed, and that was pretty sad. Anyway, though, clone Wolverine goes outside with X-23. He's trying to take her back to the military. And Logan's coming back to the house. So he takes Professor X out to the van, and the clone Wolverine's out there with the girl. And all of a sudden, those guys earlier from the water pump that I was telling you about come back in greater numbers. And Wolverine fucks them. And I don't just mean, like, stabs him once or twice. He cuts the dude's head off instantly. Like, it was fucking violent. And then he just rapes these other dudes. Not literally, but metaphorically.
I was going to say, I thought that was one of the best kills, by the way.
The decapitation?
He did like the X movement with his claws, and his face just turned into deli meat. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it like rolls into frame too. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, the real Wolverine eventually rescues the girl because him and the other clone Wolverine had this awesome fight, and like he goes into berserker rage for the first time in the movie. You get to see like full berserker rage, and him and this other clone Wolverine fight it out. And all of a sudden, the clone Wolverine's getting the advantage, and Eric LaSalle hits clone Wolverine with his truck, and then shoots him a bunch of times. And then he turns to the real Wolverine and goes to shoot him, but he's out of bullets, and then he keels over and dies. So that was pretty fucking cool, I thought. So Wolverine takes Professor X's dead body and X-23, and they drive, and then they drive some more, and Logan gets really sick. And he passes out, and X-23 takes him to a doctor. The doctor doesn't know what to do. He's like, I can help you, but they don't. So they steal another car. Where did they leave Professor X's? Oh, they buried Professor X's body.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
And they steal a car, and they go to drive to North Dakota. The whole time, Wolverine's like, this isn't real, this isn't real. Your friend read it in a comic book. There's really nowhere to rescue, or nowhere to go. There's no safe haven. And he's like, fine, fuck it, I'll take you. So he takes her there, and they actually are all there. All the kids and shit that she was talking about are there waiting for her. So they take in Wolverine, they heal him up. And now, Joel, this whole movie, he has a beard, right?
Yeah.
He's sleeping at one point, and the kids go up to him, and they start cutting his beard off, and they cut it into the old Wolverine sideburns. Yeah, exactly like straight out of the comic book. So it was pretty fucking cool. So you get to see him look like that, and there's this like green liquid that they can inject into your body to heal you. So the next day after he's sleeping, the kids go off because they're going to cross the border into Canada and be free of the government trying to kill him. So the next day, Wolverine wakes up, they're all gone, and he sees that there's drones and the military's coming after him. So he runs out to the fucking forest, injects himself with the serum, and he just starts, and there's the climax of the movie, they just start fighting the military. He's like slicing dudes up and doing all this shit, and the kids get involved, and they kill people. And
they all eventually get captured.
Yeah, and Wolverine is getting weak because the shit's wearing off, so he takes a gun, which is really rare for Wolverine to do. So he has a gun, and he shoots a couple people, and X-23 starts killing them, and then the kids escape from the captives, and then Clone Wolverine pops out, and him and Logan fight, and it's pretty fucking brutal again, and he takes Wolverine and, like, stabs him a bunch, and then shoves him onto a fucking tree, like a piece of, like a log, and impales the real Wolverine. And then X-23 shoots Clone Wolverine with an adamantium bullet that the real Wolverine's been carrying with him the whole movie, because he's like, I was going to shoot myself in the head one day. So anyway, she shoots fucking Clone Wolverine in the head, blows his head clean off. Then Wolverine dies. They bury him and the movie ends.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the end of the fucking movie.
And the franchise.
Yeah, it should be the end. I don't think they can do much more. I know they're going to milk it with this Legion TV series and all this other dumb shit. But
apparently there's some other show, like I said, with Blink.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling us that in the chat. I won't watch it.
I will. It's got Jimmy Chung, and I want to fucking... Well, you know.
Please go on. Go on. No. Heavy detail. Come on. Don't hold back now.
What do you want to do to her anus?
When I'm done, you won't be able to tell the difference between the two holes.
Oh. Okay.
They're both gonna be raw.
All right. Well, damn.
And then I'll send the pictures to Dustin and his wife.
Oh, Jesus.
She might squirt milk looking at him.
Christ.
Like across the room.
Well, this wouldn't be a World Class Bullshitters episode unless we're going to talk about some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
You're true.
So, guys, let's go across the board. Sorry, Joel, you can't answer this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, starting with you, Nick, what would you give this film?
I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I really did like it. It felt like an actual fucking movie as opposed to just some normal superhero crap that they've been pumping out now. And I really liked it. It was a really conducive story. You had a range of emotions and range of things that went on. I just felt like it was entirely different, and I hope they keep going this route because it's really good and I really enjoy it. But and this movie felt more like a passing of the torch kind of thing to the next generation, which is going to be another fucking series of X-Men mutant movies that I will not watch.
Yes, you will.
Fuck you.
I wasn't excited to see this movie at all, and I'm glad to say that I was thoroughly impressed. So.
No, neither was I. Like, I went into it going in, it's like, oh, fuck, it's another X-Men movie. But it wasn't. It was so much fucking better.
It's a movie that I got to see for World Class Bullshitters Review.
Look, it was so much, to me, it was so much better than X3, the Wolverine Origins, First Class, and Apocalypse. The only ones I liked more are X-Men 1, 2, and
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. I thought those 3 movies were superior because this movie's very depressing and kind of sad. Well, that's the same thing I said twice. Anyway, that was redundant. My point is, this movie's very downtrodden. It's a sobering picture. It's not the fun, high adventure of previous no X-Men films have been actually fun. My point is, the other X-Men movies had a lot of action. They were lighthearted. They had jokes. Like in the first X-Men movie, they have one of my favorite lines of any movie where Cyclops and Wolverine are talking after Mystique had copied Wolverine, and he's like, "How do I know you're you?" He's like, "You're a dick," and he's like, "Good enough." I love that line. That movie that line makes me laugh every time. This one was a serious film, but it was a real movie. It had gravitas. If you're out there looking for something to you could take a date to see this movie, and your date would be like, "Wow, this is a violent movie," but they wouldn't go, "Oh, he's into kiddie shit," like I don't know, like The Amazing Spider-Man or something stupid like that. It was this was a superhero movie that didn't feel like a superhero movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Phil, what would you give the score?
I would go ahead and give it an 8.5. There was one part I was surprised you didn't talk about, the beginning. They had a Deadpool clip, which I was surprised at. That started out that some guy's getting mugged in an alley, and then all of a sudden you see a guy walking with a hood and earbuds in, and next thing you know, he takes the earbuds out and you see Deadpool's face. He goes, "I gotta help him," and he runs into a phone booth that happens to be there on the street, and you hear the guy screaming bloody murder and he's trying to get his suit on, and all of a sudden you hear a gunshot, and Deadpool's like, "Shit!" And he comes out of the phone booth and he's like, "Oh wow, that's unfortunate. God, maybe I shouldn't have spent so much time in the phone booth." And then he lays down on top of the dead guy, starts eating his groceries. That's the end of the scene. It says
Joel,
Deadpool coming soon, not soon enough.
You'll like this though, Joel, because what happened is Dan and I were a few minutes late. And all of a sudden, I walk into the theater and I hear dun 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 dun. I'm like, "Oh my god, the Superman theme!" So I kind of run up to the screen and it's Deadpool, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I saw the thing, I saw all of it except the very beginning with the old guy screaming. But my god, that was a way to start that fucking
Dude, it was so fucking hilarious. Holy shit!
Because they didn't.
So is this
a
preview or actually part of Wolverine?
It was just like a separate. It was just a separate vignette. It wasn't associated with the movie, and it wasn't a trailer. It was just like a Deadpool skit they filmed.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it was great. One thing I'm very happy about the second Deadpool film, from the looks of this little clip, they're not changing the costume. They're keeping the same suit, which is good because the suit was perfect.
Oh, definitely.
That is a problem. Tyler, superhero movies of changing the costume for licensing purposes.
or
toys.
Or money,
money. I gotta give the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies credit though. The suit from 2 and 3 didn't change at all. So like it, hypothetically, you could have bought toys from the second movie and they would have translated well for the third one. But other than that, every other movie changes the cost. Like Iron Man, he's had 47 armors now.
Well, that makes sense though. It's Tony Stark, and every time he's upgrading.
True, I'm just saying to talk about a toy manufacturer's wet dream. We have 47 varieties of Iron Man action.
Oh, especially the third one where you had like once again like 40 or 50 suits, and you can collect them all and shit like that. So that as well is also something that they did, I'm sure.
Oh, they did, and the toys were shit too. They were like really cheap looking. Back when the first Iron Man movie came out, they were 6-inch figures. Then Iron Man 2 came out, they were 3 3/4, but they at least had like high quality articulation. And then the third movie came out, and they were shit. Like the Marvel toys, I hate to say it, the movies are great, the toys are garbage. Tyler, what would you give this film out of 10?
Definitely give it a 9. I'm like happy that it ended, but like at the same time, I kind of wish it wouldn't have. I kind of wish they would have like maybe done like a post-credits thing or brought him back or something like that. But it was and they did a good job with it, so I'm pretty happy about it.
I'm gonna give it the lowest score with an 8. I thought this movie was awesome. I mean, like I said, I like other X-Men movies more, but this was a great movie. If you like if you like film in general, just go see this. It's a good time. It's not for kids, and I don't really give a shit. Like if you take a kid to an R-rated movie, I wouldn't take a kid to see this movie because I don't think a child should see decapitations and mutilation and amputations. Like that's where I draw the line. A kid seeing some tits in a movie, not a big deal. Every woman's got them. Most kids are breastfed.
And some men.
And some men. It's a part of life. But I don't really think it's natural for a kid to see decapitations. So, by the way, Dan was also at the screening. He gives it an 8 out of 10. He's at home eating Taco Bell. So, Dan, thank you for being you.
But I'm not breathing. I'm just eating.
Hey, Phil.
Hello?
Okay.
Dan
Dan agrees with me what?
He agrees with you.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. That's what matters most on this show. That Dan agrees with me. So that's been our review of Logan. Everyone gave it a glowing review. I guess what was the average? Like an 8.75 out of 10 or something was our average?
Yeah.
So I don't think the bullshitters have given very many movies that were reviewed like an equally high score. Normally we're going to see shit like Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, and we're leaving the theater angry and pissed off, and Loudy will throw his hat down on the ground in anger and scream to the sky. This time we just left. Phil took a shit, and we were very happy with the movie. So, is there anything else you guys would like to add before we end this review?
Go watch Logan. It's really good. That's about it.
I plan to.
And we'll put your review up separately whenever you can, get to it.
Yeah, personally, I can't wait to hear Joel's assessment. Like my whole life is hindering on that moment.
Yeah, now. I wanna hear how much he loves it or hates it.
Joel, since I know you pretty well, I think you'll go into this movie and go, "That was really good." You won't really have many complaints.
Well, you've lifted my expectations because I was like earlier today. I was thinking about, man, I'm more excited to see Kong than I am Logan.
Yeah, I asked my mom. We were having dinner tonight, and I said to her, I don't really want to see this movie. If I wasn't going for the podcast, I could never see this movie and be fine. I'm glad I saw this movie. It was very enjoyable, and maybe because I had such low expectations, I liked it so much. I don't know. You go out and decide for yourself, listeners. Logan opens tomorrow or today, I guess, by the time this is uploaded. So go watch Logan in the comments section. Tell us what you think because we like the conversation that goes back and forth between us. And if you like this review or how we sound, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Like us on Facebook. There's 2 Facebook pages. There's the official fan group and there's the page. The page just is the information. We tell you when the videos go live, etc., etc. The fan page is where you can suggest ideas for topics, for episodes, talk to us, tell us about the news. We got tons of guys that are great, like Eddie Cantillo. He posts all kinds of shit. He also tells us, about the Saturn Awards and all those things. So if you really want to be involved with a really great pop culture discussion 24 hours a day, join our Facebook group. I'll instantly accept you. I don't know why it makes me moderated, but everyone's invited. Also, this week we talked about the Suicide Squad winning an Oscar, so if you'd like to hear me rant, that video is pretty popular. Gained us some new subs, so if you're a new sub, welcome. I'm sorry that you didn't get me ranting about Wolverine tonight, because Wolverine was a quality movie. It was the second best movie I've seen this year in theaters, out of 2. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
Don't forget to support the channel. Go to incarnate-studios.com and buy a goddamn t-shirt.
Woo! Thanks. Phil knows the drool. The drool.
The drool. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Phil knows how to drool on a t-shirt that he bought from incarnate-studios.com. The best t-shirts on the goddamn internet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Damn right.
Also, if you're a regular listener to this channel, we'll have Ring Rust up next week, unless we can find a time to record Ring Rust. So, there you go. I've been your host, Jeff Hicks.
And I've been your friendly neighborhood Samoan.
I've been your grumpy old man. And there's Phil.
I'm the Dr. Phil Seitz, and I speak for Tyler. Good night.